Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today what I want to do is I want to cover the Road Ahead post. Now, I know a lot of you have actually gone through and you've probably read a lot of stuff that's going on, and if you haven't read, you have heard about all of the new updates or all of the information that's come from this, but I want to take kind of a different spin to it. I want to look at kind of what they have done in the past and compare it to what they're doing now as far as the changes that they've made with this Road Ahead post, and then talk about definitely the benefit of these changes, then do a little bit of speculation as to what these changes or what the information implies as to what we're going to see for the future of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now, they've gone ahead and said that from now on, every 3 months, the beginning of every quarter, there's going to be a post similar to this that outlines really what they've done and what they're going to be doing. And that's essentially what we got. Now, the benefit of this is it can really guide you as to what your focus should be. A lot of people have been doing a lot of panic farming. This should hinder to some extent that concept, right? I think what they're trying to do is give players a glimpse as to what to expect. And I think a lot of the time, a lot of players have really freaked out. I mean, there is a should I be panic farming website out there, and it's great, it's wonderful, but at the same time, it's frustrating to have to use something like that. In this Road Ahead, we got some really major information, right? The communication moving forward, bounty hunters, the Han Solo movie is coming out. They've got a lot of stuff going along with that. So we definitely have an idea as to what we need to be focusing on. Then they introduce Bossk. Now, Bossk is awesome. I absolutely love this. Now, but with this new information for Bossk, we also got the, hey, we're finally getting the Bounty Hunters rework. This month inside the game, the Bounty Hunters are getting a new mechanic called contracts, and the interplay between the different contracts and different makeup of the Bounty Hunters squads are going to revitalize their gameplay inside Galaxy of Heroes. Revitalizing their gameplay, not gameplay as a whole. Alongside the rework, some of the same existing characters, we are going to be introducing the Trandoshan Bossk. Really excited about that. Then after the Bounty Hunters, we are going to go full solo mode where we will start releasing another Han Solo and another Chewbacca. That makes 5 Han Solos, 3 Chewbaccas. I'm going to predict 2 Landos and quite a bit of other characters for the movie. But looking at the Bounty Hunter rework, I want to focus on this just a little bit. I've been kind of looking at how they've been introducing new mechanics and what a mechanic is in this game. So a mechanic is just an ability that functions a certain way that is spread out across multiple characters or multiple factions. And so the plague mechanic is an example of a new mechanic that they've introduced. The pain mechanic is definitely an example of the new mechanic that has been introduced. Other mechanics that, you know, they've tweaked and changed, you have the expose mechanic, you have, you know, the turn meter mechanic. Those are all things that work a certain way. So with that being said, with that in mind, there's something that we need to keep in mind, that when they launch the mechanic, there's still going to be some bugs that they're going to have to work out. Based on what we see in the past and what we can kind of predict for the future, it does look like each mechanic for the bounty hunters, or each contract for the bounty hunters, will be slightly different based on which bounty hunter it is. Now, what I'm thinking is this is going to be added to a unique ability and not necessarily a new ability. That's where I think this will go. But what I imagine is that each contract mechanic will differ based on the bounty hunter and based on what that bounty hunter does. I think that it's going to be definitely interesting to see what happens with these. But I do think that while they'll work as individual bonuses, kind of like how the pain mechanic really only benefits Scion, I think it will still have some other impact outside of that mechanic towards other bounty hunters. So every time maybe a Cad Bane stuns a Jedi, or every time Cad Bane stuns someone, who knows? Now, what we do know is that their focus, while the rework is going to be really the whole bounty hunter squad, it does seem like only the core 6 that were in the OG trilogy are really going to be the ones getting their updates. So that limits us to, now in the original Empire Strikes Back, those bounty hunters that are introduced there are Dengar, IG-88, Boba Fett, Bossk, Forlom, and Zuckuss. Now that's 6 characters, but of those OG 6 characters, we only have 4 of them in play, which makes me speculate and makes me really hope that they're also going to be adding somewhere probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe, just maybe, Forlom and Zuckuss. Now, if they do, what I'm hoping that is one of those duos, kind of like the Baze and the Chirrut, kind of like the Wigs, you know, Wedge and Biggs combo. I would love to see those two added together and have some kind of synergy that works between the two. That would be awesome. Now, that is highly speculative. I really hope, like, fingers crossed that it happens, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. We can see additional bonuses from Dengar. We do know from the Arnold interview that Dengar is going to have a leadership ability. Now that's gonna have to be a pretty awesome leadership ability in comparison to Boba Fett's, because Boba Fett's, it's a pretty solid ability. Then in addition, IG-88 is gonna have to get an update. I'm thinking he's gonna get, I don't know, maybe a triple attack, maybe something that's gonna, I really have no idea, because he's a powerhouse as it is. And seeing him added, or seeing him, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm really excited for that. I'm curious to see what the update for Boba Fett is gonna look like, because Boba Fett has already been reworked, I believe, twice, and each time has made him better. I am excited to see what that is. I think it might simply just be an upgrade to his contract. It'll just be the addition of a contract mechanic, but I still think any additional rework of Boba Fett is probably going to make him that much better. Now I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what abilities we might see Bossk actually have. Now I am really stoked about seeing Bossk in game. Any other bounty hunter is going to be sweet. We do know again from the Arnold interview that they are going to make Bossk a taunting tank. So not just a tank, but a taunting one. So that is really awesome. Now, when I researched Bossk, and I wasn't super familiar with him. I saw him in Rebels, I saw him in Clone Wars. I know that Bossk has and does work with Boba Fett. So I'm curious to know if the contracts that they share, or the mechanics that they share, somehow intermingle. So if Boba Fett is going to work really well with a Bossk or vice versa. I do think there are some kind of subtle things that hopefully mean more characters or more different characters. Specifically, Bossk is known for his Wookiee hunting abilities. There are only 3 Wookiees in the game, and they're all Chewbacca, or there will only be 3 Wookiees in the game, and they're all Chewbacca. Does this mean that we're going to get maybe Tarful, or does this mean we're going to be getting other Wookiees? Black Karkastan, who's from the comics, if you guys don't know the story of Black Karkastan, he is awesome. Super cool, one of the coolest characters in the new canon in my mind, especially one of the coolest bounty hunters in the new canon. But I do think that this is a slight indication that they are planning, or potentially planning, on introducing more Wookiees. Now, if they do introduce more Wookiees, it may not be soon. It may be with the rework of the Separatists. We do know that there were more Wookiees during the Clone Wars era. So maybe we'll see stuff like that. I don't know. That's just a guesstimate. Now, looking at his kit from Battlefront 2, we can kind of get an idea as to where they may be thinking about this. Now, Bossk, again, from Clone Wars, from canon, is a very solid fighter. He's a great tracker. He has regeneration ability, so he can regen stuff. So I think we'll see him have a very high health with health regen that is really powerful. I think he'll have a very high protection. He'll probably have some kind of grenades. He'll probably have some kind of hand-to-hand physical attack, and he definitely has, you know, a weapon of sorts. He has a rifle that he uses. Now, I think that he'll be slow to attack. He won't have a very high speed. Most tanks don't have a super high speed. Most tanks are fairly slow, but I think we'll probably see him hitting very hard and quite possibly maybe a special ability that stuns or dazes or maybe even, you know, ignores protection. I could totally see that. But I think Bossk is definitely going to be a character that will be game changing for no other reason than to have him in the Sith Triumvirate raid. The Bounty Hunter faction has been one of those that I've been playing around with in the STR, and it's pretty solid. I think this rework can only make it that much better. Now, moving on, the Solo movie, like I said, we're going to get our 5th Han, our 3rd Chewie. I mean, we're probably going to get a 2nd Lando. We're going to get the middle-aged mods that we saw in the first trailer. We're going to get some form of Woody Harrelson. Fingers crossed that it's Zombieland Woody Harrelson, but they're probably going to go with, you know, Solo Woody Harrelson. We are also going to be getting the Mother of Dragons. Very excited about that. I'm really excited to see these new characters. Now, we won't see those until the start of May, but I think we're still going to get a lot more stuff coming in and around May. I don't think that the new Han Solo are going to be super powerful. I think they're going to be great characters that you're going to want to have because they're going to come with the Millennium Falcon. Now, we don't know that. I personally don't know that. I've not received any information to tell me that, but let's face it, guys, the Millennium Falcon exists in one place, and it's a Resistance version of it. And that's kind of sad, because the Millennium Falcon is not a Resistance ship. It becomes a Resistance ship when, you know, Rey and Chewie fly it, but it's not really. It's a rebel ship. It's a smuggler ship. Come on. I think we're going to see the Millennium Falcon being flown by Han and Chewie. Now, I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, but come on. And to finish this all off, you know, they said, hey, and ships. We've been working on for some time now to realize ship content, introducing a PvE table. So what does that mean? That means more options to level up your ships, more ships to potentially introduce into the game. That means a potential change to territory wars. That means a potential change to galactic power levels. You know, you're going to be able to farm those ships. Maybe they'll take where they've doubled up ships and characters, kind of like the Rey and the Millennium Falcon and Death Trooper, Shore Trooper and his ship. I think what they might do is they'll split those off, so it makes it harder to farm, but also different to farm. That'll probably also come with its own energy, or maybe there will be an increase of energy. It'll also probably come with a change to, you know, the daily rewards. I mean, you'll have another way to get credits or a few extra crystals or something like that. But this is something that I've been wondering about for the last like year and a half since they've introduced ships. They're trying to make the gameplay more dynamic. They're trying to make it something that's worthwhile. Ships have been kind of a fun aspect of this, and I really think that this is something that we could potentially see a lot more of, and hopefully we see a lot more of, because I'm really wanting new and better ships and a ship event. If they do have a ship PvE table, that just means that eventually we will get a ship raid. Which of us have not wanted to go up against the Death Star or even the Dreadnought from episode 8? I mean, whether you liked it or not, that was a really cool moment in the movie. This is probably one of the few cool moments in the movie if you didn't like the movie. But I loved it. I thought that was a cool moment, you know, and then I can even see how they would break that entire raid down, you know. Super cool. But anyways, what do you guys think about the road ahead? What do you guys think about my speculation on what Bossk's abilities will look like? And what do you think our 5th Han and 3rd Chewie will look like? And what other characters do you think we'll get from the Solo movie? Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, stay nerdy.